So my name is Barbara Scheck. Welcome also from my side. I work at Munich Business School, and together with Agricultural University Athens, we are a team of researchers that was or still is responsible for the impact assessment of the YES project. And as you maybe can imagine, as the impact assessment team, we weren't the most popular people at the beginning of this project. And of course, the question came up at the beginning, well, do we really have to do it? You know, we've been doing it for a very long time. You know, we do a good job. Do we really have to do it? And we could make it short and say yes. But I'd like to go into a bit more detail why we think it is important, why I also think that the partners see a benefit in what we are doing in Athens and in Munich in terms of impact assessment. And so there are two perspectives on the topic. One is the proving and the improving. The proving means with impact assessment, you can prove to the diverse stakeholders, and for many organizations in the social sector, these are funders, that you're doing a good job. And there's evidence out there that if you have a valid and rigorous impact assessment, it's easier to obtain funding, especially European funding. So it helps proving what you're doing to your stakeholders. But at the same time, it helps you improving what you're doing. So all these organizations, their objective is every day to make a change and to help young people, as Nora said at the beginning, being able to fully exploit their potential. So they want to know if that really works and what they maybe could do better, how they could improve it, how they could help even more people. So this is kind of the improving part. I briefly in the next 10 to 15 minutes would like to illustrate what our objective was in the project. So our theory of change, what makes it so difficult? So how did we actually measure it? What did we come up with in terms of the measurement framework and the measurement process? And also present some insights and results. Next slide, please, Jörg. So the theory of change is a buzzword. One probably must say in the social sector. What does it actually mean? Well, nothing else than what are we trying to do and what is the logic behind that? So why do the organizations that participate in this project think that what they're doing actually changes the life of these young people? And there's a model behind that with different steps. So there's certain resources you need and you work with this as the input. And then you have certain results that are quite easily quantifiable and countable. These are the so-called outputs, the direct results of what's happening. But that does not necessarily mean that something changed for the need. So just because you count the number of people that participated, we're doing that. That's a very important number or indicator. But that doesn't necessarily mean that something in their lives has changed. So this is kind of the change is the outcome and the impact. And we decided together with the partners to focus on two aspects, the so-called soft skills and the so-called hard skills. Both kind of objectives and skills conveyed and taught in the courses and stressed in the mentoring activities and the education programs. So the soft skills and the hard skills, so the improved emotional capabilities of the young people that participate in the programs, that then enables them to actively go out and change their lives, go look for a job, start their own company, etc. And then the hard skills, so the very clear abilities that they gain, the very clear knowledge that they gain, and the individual achievements that then in the long run, and this is the impact change or have an impact on society. So there are very clear economic benefits. And Guillaume mentioned that early on, and there are also social benefits to society that we looked at. So this was kind of the theory of change. This was the first step, articulating what was already there, because most of the organizations, they've been active in the field, they're professionals, have been professionals for 28 years, Guillaume, I think you said, right? So there is something that you've been doing right for 28 years, but it's very often challenging to make that explicit. And especially if you work in a team, if you want to explain to others what you're trying to do, and if you want to scale up, it is important that you're able to make explicit what you're trying to do and what you're aiming at. And this was the first step, so the theory of change of the YES project. What did that look like in practice? What did the process look like? Is on the next slide. So we had a so-called pre and post experimental design. Excuse me, what does that mean? Well, we have a survey that the young needs in working with the respective implementation partners fill out before they receive any kind of training, support, mentoring. And then we have another questionnaire that we ask them to fill out when they have finished their participation in the program, whatever part of the program that is, so pre and post. So we try to calculate kind of the difference between the situation prior to the intervention and then at the end. We collect the data online. We developed online surveys in each language where the implementation partners are working in. We analyze the data quantitatively, and then we publish that on a regular basis in the impact assessment report. And we, as I said, we look at kind of the hard skills and the soft skills. So for example, the soft skills, and that is kind of taken from the research and the literature that's out there on what do young people need, what actually hinders them or keeps them back from looking for employment or starting their own business. These are emotional capacities such as proactivity, self-efficacy. Do I think that I have a chance of making it? Do I think that I'm able to go and look for a job? This is kind of the first step in getting out there, resilience, etc. We look at the social benefits. So I also need to have a certain degree of trust in the institutions around me, in society, that I can make it, and then the economic benefits. And this we calculate with proven and tested scales. So the survey has a very specific design, and we tested that, and we've also refined it again with the experience that we've collected in the first 3 years of the project to make it even more concise, more to the point, better capturing what we're trying to assess. And then the researchers in Athens and Munich are in constant contact with the partners to optimize the data collection process. It's not a secret that this is challenging, especially kind of the post questionnaires, getting everybody to answer the questions another time, et cetera, et cetera. But this is something where we really appreciate the collaboration with the partners. So we've come a long way, I think, since the first time when there was the question, do we really need impact assessment? And this has become a really true cooperation between the researchers and the collaboration partners, who I think see the value added of the impact assessment now. But this is up to our partners to talk about that. Some results maybe on the next slide, some insights into what that looks like. And I'm happy that Adevale, our researcher from the Munich side, is also on the call today. And please feel free to chip in, Adevale, anytime. So what we see here on the horizontal axis are the 4 countries participating in our project: Spain, Italy, Greece, and Poland. And we have then these different variables that we look at. So the economic benefits, the social benefits, the emotional capacity. And we see that there are different focus areas where we see impact in the specific countries. But of course, that has to do also with the different target groups, the different circumstances. Not every need is the same. We have very different target groups between the partners. We have different regional circumstances, different economic circumstances. So it's no wonder that the results are not the same everywhere. For example, in Italy, we see an increase in disposable income, that's the I, or we see an increase in social responsibility in Spain, etc. So different results on these different levels in the different countries. In general, with regard to the coaching and the mentoring, we see a clear benefit of both interventions. So we test or we survey the participants before the mentoring, before the coaching, after the mentoring, trying to pick apart the different value added of the different interventions. And we see a clear value added by these interventions for the needs to navigate the labor market. What we also have seen is that needs can develop a loss of enthusiasm when the duration becomes too long. So we can also, with this assessment, experiment when it comes to the duration of the actual intervention. So it's 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, etc. So what does that make a difference? And we've seen, for example, for the mentoring, that when it becomes too long, needs can become demotivated or lose the enthusiasm in participating. These are just first glimpses in the results. So we publish them biannually every 6 months for every country. And we hope that, that they are of use to the organizations, to our implementation partners for their work, very specifically on site, to see what they can improve or what they can maybe strengthen, where the strengths are, what they could focus on, but also towards different stakeholders and funders, that this is kind of helps the organizations to do more of the good work that they're doing. And I would stop here maybe, and I'm available, of course, for more questions later on.